Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 5, Episode 9, Best Laid Plans.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
Good. It was good. Very tiring. And I never give myself enough time to recover over the weekend.
Same.
I know that I need to rest, but I forget that, yes, hanging out with friends is, rejuvenating, but not in the same way that, sleeping is, you know?
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, we have to cram everything into our days off, right?
Yeah.
Because especially with your job, I'm quite sure you have no energy to do anything when you get home. So,
yeah, no.
You have to recover your body mentally and emotionally and physically from the week at work. Also, keep up with your friends and your relationships in your life. And also, do whatever errands you have to run to keep your life moving. It's not possible.
Yeah. Well, anyway, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. It was also busy. It was weirdly, it was both busy and not busy because I had something planned for every day and then things kept getting moved around. And so then I didn't end up doing a lot of the things that I had planned. But I still felt so rushed because it was planned, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. That's the emotional whiplash of that. I don't know if I'd be able to handle that. A whole week of that? No.
It was every day something changed. But we made it. We made it through it. Everything's fine now.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, me too. Shall we talk about this episode?
Yeah.
I already watched it, I promise.
Yeah, me too. I watched it literally this morning because I kept putting it off.
Me too. I did watch it. I watched half of it Friday night. Well, I watched 10 minutes of it Friday night. And then I watched the rest this morning.
So, in my defense, not that I need a defense. I'm busy.
Defend yourself. I'm attacking you.
But no, I never know when Tyler's schedule is going to line up with mine, and it just happened to line up with mine this time. And so he slept over Friday night and Saturday night, and we're recording on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so my original plan was to watch it on Saturday when I have, time and energy after my work week. Well, Tyler was here on Saturday, and instead of watching the episode, we took a nap.
Valid.
That's my defense.
That honestly is some of the best quality time is just napping together.
Yes.
It's lovely.
It was one of those naps where I couldn't wake up from. And so we poor Tyler finally got me up around 7 p.m. And then we stayed up until maybe 9. And then we went back to bed.
A wonderful day, actually.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. I love that. Good for you. Congratulations. That's basically pennies every day.
Yeah. I felt like a dog, like a napping dog.
A napping dog.
It's all I've ever wanted to be in life.
It would be the best thing. Anyway.
All right. So, did we meet any new? Or wait, did we?
You didn't tell us who wrote it.
Okay. I sure didn't.
Are you still sleeping?
A little bit. And it's Easter Sunday, y'all. As of recording, it is Easter Sunday, and I can't take a nap. I have to go straight to my grandparents' house.
Because the Lord is arisen. There was somebody dressed as Jesus at the Ren Fair yesterday, and I was like, you're early.
That's funny. All right. So, this episode was written by George Kitson and directed by Gary A. Brown.
Wow. 2 G's.
Yeah.
We did not meet any new characters in this episode.
We sure didn't.
So, which is fine. You know what? We reached our boiling point.
Yeah.
And what a boiling point it was.
Truly. Sorry, I didn't think that would make noise.
It's okay.
I went and I got a fidget toy from my bedside table.
Nice. All right.
Because I'm very fidgety this morning. Okay. Even though I'm so sleepy.
We were a little short on fun facts on this episode, huh?
Oh, yeah. But that's been the case for, like, almost this whole season, I feel like.
Why does nobody care about these seasons? Give us some fun facts, guys.
Yeah, come on. Update the Wikipedia.
Of all the seasons to have fun facts for, like, surely there are some.
I know. Maybe I need to, next episode I'm going to look at the overall episode. Like, not the episode, the season fun facts.
Maybe that'll be good. Anyway.
I've already looked at those, but some of them were spoilers for the middle / end part of the season.
Gotcha.
So I'll have to keep those in mind.
Well, you want to hit us with the one fun fact that we have?
Yeah, so this is actually, there are 2. There's this one that I put at the very beginning, and then there's one at the very end.
Perfect.
The title is based on Robert Burns' poem, To a Mouse, which reads, "The best laid schemes of mice and men go oft awry."
Cool. To a mouse. All right. Despite the lack of fun facts, this was a packed episode. Lots of things happening.
It really was. I didn't know what to take notes on because things were happening so fast. I was like, I do not envy Caroline's job right now.
There were so many things happening. It was quick. So we're just gonna dive right in.
Okay.
Mac and Elena have armed the remaining humans, and they kill 2 more of the Kree soldiers that are checking like every floor after setting loose the cockroaches on the entire population in the last episode. Mac says, or no, Gunner. I forgot about Gunner, guys.
Yeah.
He's like, why does a guy named Gunner get stuck throwing rocks? And Mac says, 'cause you're damn good at it. Mac had so many zingers this episode, and he's always so good at it.
Yeah.
Flint and his half of the humans meet up with them and declare that they have taken this floor. No blues allowed. Mac is trying to appreciate the small victory, but he knows there will be more creepers coming for them soon. So he's like, let's not get too excited here. Especially because
that
now...
was good. That was a good accent.
Oh, thanks. Especially because now Cassius is aware that there are still some human survivors. And his flabbergasted, guys, okay? That anyone could survive the roaches, much less find weapons. I don't... The fact that that was the thing that he was, like, freaking out about was, like, ridiculous to me. I'm like, he's killing your soldiers. They are killing your soldiers. Surely you would expect them to, like, take those soldiers' weapons at the very least.
Yeah.
But the way that he was like, they have weapons? They're armed? Yeah, dude. And then he's even more pissed when one of his human servants drops her half of one of Cassius's very suspiciously heavy boxes. I thought that was going to come back around at some point. Because I watched the very first part of this episode like 2 days ago, I forgot that happened. But yeah, I thought that was going to come back around. Maybe it still will. I don't know. Anyway, Cassius can't believe the timing. I mean, really? An uprising just as he's about to move out to his new rental? Ugh. So he tells his guide to release their, quote, newest acquisition to handle the humans.
So gross.
Really gross. Enoch is very interested in Coulson's plan to get them back to their time. According to Coulson, who heard from May, who heard from Robin, Flint is going to use his rock power to build them a new monolith portal. He starts to repeat the explanation that he was given and then gives up and says, it's a rock. Flint controls rocks. Which is all the answer I needed, truly.
I read that out loud to Tyler because it, like, cracked me up.
I mean, really. I love when they, like, put together pseudoscience explanations and stuff, but I don't know what they're saying. Against Enoch's better judgment, instead of hunkering down in the nearby caves to wait out the weeks-long gravity storm that is heading their way, the SHIELD team is getting the Zephyr ready to fly after being a crash site for over 80 years. Obviously, that's the reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time to wait for weeks and hope that Flint and the rest of the team can survive that long without backup. So they're doing their best to get everything up and running. And May calls Enoch Metal Man, and he says, I'm made of plastic and I'm non-binary, you asshole.
I literally wrote, agender Enoch.
We keep forgetting to use their preferred pronouns, and I'm very sorry, Enoch. Coulson asks May if she's alright after Robin's revelation, and if she needs to talk about it. May says that the craziest part about all of it is that she was a mother. I personally feel that there were maybe some crazier parts to the story, but sure. Coulson says he can see it, and Daisy says she can see May being a really strict, hard-headed kind of mom. But they all agree that they need to do whatever it takes to keep Robin from having to grow up in this kind of world. And then Coulson also reveals that he has left Voss's fate in Deke's capable hands. I do love that Daisy was like, oh, you'd be such a, like, strict mom, and, like, there's that mom face or whatever. But then May was actually, like, really fucking sweet to Robin all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So Deke confronts Voss alone, and he pulls a gun. And he asks how Voss could kill Deke's dad, who I kept forgetting his name.
I think Owen.
Owen. Okay, thank you. He asks how Voss could kill Owen, who is his best friend. Voss says that they were always in sync with the plan until it came to what happened after bringing S.H.I.E.L.D. to the future. Owen thought that they would have a solution. Or Owen thought that S.H.I.E.L.D. would have a solution, and Voss thought that killing them was the solution. According to Voss, they went back and forth on this so many times and so intensely that eventually Owen pulled a knife on Voss, and in self-defense, apparently, Voss killed him. Deke isn't sure what to believe because he did know that his dad had a temper, apparently. But he does lower the gun while Voss goes on about how they can still kill S.H.I.E.L.D. together, or at least play the long game and get Daisy to go with Cassius instead of going back to her time. Back in the lighthouse, Elena is teaching Flint how to use a gun when Mac interrupts them and pointedly takes the gun out of Flint's hand. And he says...
As he should.
Yeah.
Honestly.
This is a child. And he says that he thinks that Flint is getting too eager to kill. Which, yeah, children should not be in that position.
Yeah.
Before he and Yo-Yo can come to an agreement, though, Gunnar says they have a messenger. Ah! Zombie Tess! She tells Flint that she wasn't, or Flint's like, I thought you were dead. And she's like, I was. For a while.
And I, immediately wrote, this is going to blow Caroline's mind.
I was only confused for a second because they have brought people back to life before.
Yeah.
I was like, everything comes back to Tahiti.
Yeah. It's all connected.
It's all, I've connected them. Tess tells them how Cassius brought her back to life. The line, because she just had those short, staccato lines explaining what happened, and the knives are cold. Absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
Sent chills down my spine. She tells them that Cassius used Cree blood, just like in Project Tahiti, as we just said. And Flint says that they should just get in that elevator, go down there, and kill every one of those blue bastards. Or at least Cassius. Mac refuses, for now. And Elena agrees with Flint, though. She says that if they kill Cassius, then it's over. He's just a man. But Tess says he's not a man, he's a god. And her standing here is proof of that. And Max says, there's only one god, and he for sure ain't it. He for damn sure ain't it. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And I remember us talking about this line before, and so I was like, I know Mr. Keith was kicking his feet at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember specifically. I think this was the season I had moved out. So I would come home and we would binge 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Because when I moved out, I moved an hour and a half away, y'all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
so I don't recall exactly, but yeah.
Elena says that she'll go and kill Cassius before he even knows what hit him. And if he comes back to life, then she'll kill him again. I love that line. Tess says that if she doesn't bring Cassius back what he wants, then he'll kill what's left of the humans with a push of a button. Quote, a push of a button. And what he wants is Flint, all children under 10 so that he can continue breeding in humans. I'm not sure why he thinks there are I don't know how many children he thinks are still alive. And we didn't really see any of the children until the very end, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then he also wants Mac and Yo-Yo as motivation for Daisy to come back to him. Daisy runs into Coulson charging his hand, which that sucks, actually. And I have a lot of questions about it, okay? Like, how long does a charge last? How long does it take to charge, actually? How long does it last? Will it die? And he just, like, what happens when it dies is he just have, like, a regular, like, motionless prosthetic hand until he can get to the charger. Also, what kind of charger does it take? If he runs out of juice, can he just use my phone charger? Like... And then also, like, when it's getting low, does he feel it? Like, is it like his hand gets tired and, like, cramps up or something? Or is it just, like, working perfectly and then suddenly it stops? That was an insane thing to put in here with absolutely no context.
A little light under his thumbnail just flashes red when it starts to die.
Anyway, Coulson says that first order of business once they get back to the lighthouse is to get Daisy's inhibitor removed so that she can be back at full strength. Daisy isn't so sure about this, though. She thinks that if she doesn't have her powers, then she can't destroy the world. Coulson says S.H.I.E.L.D. needs Quake, but Daisy would like to just be Daisy Johnson, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, since there is not video of her actually destroying the world, as we've determined, who says that she even had her full powers? What if she didn't get her full powers back, and then she's just there trying to be an agent, and then everybody blames her?
As one of my favorite podcasts, The Newest Olympian, says, I'm keeping my trapdoor intact. I will not say a spoiler and then have a trapdoor open up from under me and I fall in and there's like a pit of snakes and it's like, you spoiled it for her. Die. That was
okay.
Exaggerated.
I love it. I love it. Well, and also in the next scene, we find another fucking alibi. Another defense for Daisy, because Fitzsimmons are working on getting the Zephyr's electrical whatever reconfigured, and they discover that everything is running on one of Fitz's theoretical designs that he never actually put to use because they didn't have a good enough energy source or whatever for it. And it requires gravitonium, and then they discover that this whole ship is running on gravitonium, and probably this must be what the lighthouse is running on, and what's keeping the remains of the planet held together. And Simmons says it could also be the reason that it broke apart. Daisy, are you listening to me? I literally, the whole time that they were saying that, and then Simmons said, and the reason it broke apart, I was like, hello! Can we say this in front of anybody else, please? Go tell Voss. But then Fitz starts to spiral because he's saying that they must have built this after they get back to their own time, which means after they've seen the aftermath of it, which means that they are doomed to fail and continue the time loop. Simmons tries to offer a more positive outlook and says that if they did build this, then it's only proof that they do make it back to their own time, which is a very nice way of putting it. As the gravity storm rages, Daisy says she thinks a hospital just hit them. And Enoch says, "Oh, is this your first time having a building dropped on you?" And May's like, "No." Enoch had some fucking lines. Everybody in this episode was hilarious.
It was a really good episode. It was so fast paced.
Yeah. Ugh.
For such a sleepy girl.
May finally gets power to the cockpit. Cockpit. Ew.
Ew.
Cockpit. Not that that's really a better word, actually. Anyway, she's trying to get them to take off. Deke comes in and says, no, he didn't kill Voss because he thought that they could still potentially use him or his knowledge. Then Fitzsimmons arrive, and before they can explain that the engines are not ready, May tries to start the ignition, and then the engines blow out, of course, obviously. Enoch suggests that they evacuate to the caves, as he has been advising this whole time. But then yet another hospital drops on them, theoretically, before he can get up again. Mac, Yo-Yo, Flint, and Tess are all heading to the electric panel on their floor. Everybody's at the electric panel in this episode. Lots of parallels. And everyone is begging Mac to just let them go to Cassius. Tess says that his exact words, if she failed to bring him what he wants, were, "They'll all burn," which is a horrific thing to say.
Yeah.
Max says this must mean that he has some kind of trigger to cut off their oxygen or something on every floor. So he opens the panel, and then in the panel behind the panel, he finds a bomb tied directly to the oxygen line. So, quote, at the push of a button, Cassius could literally incinerate every floor all at once.
Horrifying.
Terrible. Awful. Deke is making sure that all of the future people have survival packs and are evacuating to the caves. Daisy finds him and kind of congratulates him on finally becoming a good guy and letting Voss live. I do love that Daisy is very intent on, like, the good guy versus bad guy thing.
Yeah.
Hero versus villain. Anyway, Deke says that letting Voss live could just mean that he is spineless and he just couldn't do it. But Daisy says that killing is never the better option. Deke says it might be if it can prevent more pain. But Daisy says that she's pretty sure Voss is only a threat to her. Which sounds like foreshadowing. Deke leaves the conversation before he can say more. And then Coulson lets Voss out and handcuffs him before they let him join the other evacuees, but not before Voss tells them one more of Robin's prophecies, that the end of the world starts with an alien invasion that S.H.I.E.L.D. fails to stop. And then, according to Voss, Daisy finishes off what the alien invasion starts. Which, even from his own words, means that Daisy is not the cause of the end of the world. The Kree were already, like, destroying the world, and then she broke it apart, according to him. That doesn't... that would tell me that the aliens are at fault. Anyway.
My lips are sealed.
Oh, and I said, in the moment, the more they talk about this, the less it seems like Daisy was at fault. But Voss also tells Deke that he's doing a good job of getting Daisy alone. Don't like that. Mac and Yo-Yo gather the rest of the people together and show them the bomb. Max says it took him all of an hour to detach it, but it's not disabled. It can still go off from Cassius' trigger. And he doesn't have the time to go and detach every one of them from every floor before they get set off. So the plan is Mac and Yo-Yo are going to give in to part of his demands and turn themselves over to him. And if they succeed, he says their children will be safe. And Mac looks directly at Gunnar when he says this, which is very cute. Very sweet.
Yeah.
And then they say goodbye to Flint as well. And Flint desperately wants to go with them and fight, or at least hide Tess so he doesn't have to lose her again. But they tell him that there are other ways to fight, and these people need him now. And I had to go on a rant for a minute. Because I was like, he is a child. Like, 16-year-old, or if that.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be 16.
They're like leaving the fate of what remains of humanity in the hands of a 16-year-old boy, and he never ever should have had to have this responsibility. And I really hate that he's in this position.
Yeah. Aww.
And then Enoch with another fucking zinger. He's like, the sensation of death is one I have yet to experience. The rest of the SHIELD team is desperately trying to figure out how to get in the air, and Fitzsimmons suggests some very far-fetched science stuff that means that they can just let the gravity storm take them, and then once they're out of range of the fake atmosphere, they can just float over to the lighthouse, I guess. And Deke's like,
supposedly the thrusters would work, but how do the thrusters work without engines?
Yeah, that's what I don't. None of it made any sense to me, but whatever. I will trust them. And then Deke's like, I used to be really good at self-preservation. But before they can get in the air, the last two straggler evacuees accidentally let in fucking Scary Spice! Dun dun dun!
No!
I love how they were like, hey, you're going the wrong way, we're leaving. And then she just like keeps walking in. They're like, okay, bye. Cassius. This is like my favorite part of the episode, is him just reading a book in his like arena thing. Because like, he's like packing up all of his shit. They're about to leave. And he's like, yeah, I'll just take a book though. And just sit here waiting. And then the way that he like puts it to the side when he like turns around to see who Tess brought back for him, I don't know. It was really funny to me.
Yeah, and to me, like, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Maybe like it's just kind of indicative of his attitude and like his confidence that he'll win, and confidence in everybody else's fear of him.
Yeah. And I think the whole reason why he hasn't left yet is like he's expecting to get Daisy back.
Yeah.
And like he's just so like relaxed, just waiting. Like he's so confident that like his plan is gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. All his nonchalance. He should have had some chalance, okay?
Yeah. Timothy
Chalamance.
I don't know. That sounded better in my head before I said it out loud.
I loved it. Anyway, so he is shocked to see only Tess standing before him when he's told that his messenger has returned. She says that she's alone, but not empty-handed. She opens her hand and shows him a couple of tubes of blood samples and a crystal. and then she gives the message that Mac and Yo-Yo wanted to send, that they are waiting for Cassius to come and meet them on the research floor, and that if Cassius doesn't meet them, they will burn his ability to create more Inhumans, quote, at the push of a button. I love using his words against him.
Yes.
So then Cassius almost kills Tess, but he lets go and storms out the door, telling the guard to bring her with him. I don't really know why he still needs her. I mean, like, I'm glad that he didn't kill her. Like, that's great. But I don't know.
Maybe he planned to kill her in front of Mac and Yo-Yo or something like that.
Maybe so. Maybe so. That would be something he would do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Coulson gets hit in the head by, like, a ceiling tile or something. And then I loved the way that Deke was like, ooh, that's definitely gonna get infected. And then there's, like, not even a mark. There's not blood. There's not anything. They showed that part of his head multiple times right afterwards, and there's nothing on there. So part of me was like,
I didn't notice that. That's like, so funny.
Was that not supposed to happen and they just left it in or something?
I did not notice that.
But, I mean, like, it had to have been because May comes over to check on him, and then that's where she has the, like, the back and forth with Enoch again. So something was supposed to have happened. I don't know. I thought that was really funny. So, as I said, May goes over to check on Coulson, and then Enoch continues telling them what's going wrong, how they're, like, getting closer and closer to implosion. And May says, tell me your primary function again. And he says, to observe and record the evolution of your species. And she's like, more observing, less sharing. Get him, May. So the team buckles in, and May gets ready to do the impossible yet again, as they always do. But the anchors are stuck. So Daisy, and for some reason Deke, is on it. I don't know what Deke was gonna do to help.
He wants to be like a hero.
Yeah.
But he does not have the skills. And Daisy could kick his ass and anyone else's.
Yeah.
She doesn't need
He's just obsessed
him.
with her. That's really the thing.
Yeah. I'm not going to deny it.
But the way that he followed her, I was like, oh my god, is he going to try to kill her now? But I don't think he would. I think he's just actually in love with her. So Mac and Yo-Yo wait for Cassius to arrive, and Mac makes Yo-Yo promise not to kill anyone yet. They also mentioned that they put a lot on Flint today, that he's just a kid. Which I'm really glad that they pointed that out.
Yeah.
Elena says that she wasn't much older than him when she started out, which also should not have had to happen. Cassius and his crew arrive, and he is surprised that he recognizes Yo-Yo Rodriguez. How peculiar, he says. And she says the space mime. I wish more people would roast Cassius, because it really is so easy. Mac lifts up his own bomb trigger and demands the controls for the explosives on the other floors, or he will blow up all of Cassius's Inhuman-making supplies. Which they have right here. Cassius says to submit to him, and maybe he will consider bringing them back to life after killing them. And then Elena laughs in his face and says, we're not scared of you. She says Cassius hides behind stronger men and forces them to do his bidding, which makes Cassius a coward. Which is amazing, because that's exactly what his brother always called him, and the thing that will, like, get to his deepest core, his deepest insecurity.
His core wound.
Yeah. And Cassius says that the one thing that he's learned here on this rock is that humans will always turn on each other. Deke follows Daisy at a distance as she goes to unstick the anchors. But Scary Spice finds her, and then she speaks. Was this the first time that she said anything? I don't remember her talking before.
No, she said like a few lines here and there, but I think this probably was like the most she ever spoke during an episode.
Yeah. But the anchors are gone now, so, and then the next gravity wave hits them, and the Zephyr has liftoff. So now we have a zero gravity fight.
Whoa.
And then May hits the artificial gravity button.
That was. I said, whoa.
Whoa. And then May hits the artificial gravity button. So now we have an extra gravity fight. Whoa!
Whoa!
Why does that sounds like a Simlish. Whoa! Deke has been thrown across the floor, so he's like crawling for some weapon. Everyone else is buckled in, and Enoch says, if I had a stomach, I'd be vomiting right now. But Fitz says that they're not high enough for the thrusters yet, and then Simmons is like, this is a terrible idea, I'm really sorry.
Oh.
Elena tells Cassius, you love forcing choices on other people. How does it feel to be on the other side for once? Fucking get him, Yo-Yo. But Cassius says that at any moment, Sonara will secure Daisy and they'll have to surrender. Once again, proving her point, manipulating choices for everyone but himself and trying not to choose himself. As Daisy and Sonara's fight continues, though, Cassius goes on about how he's a god and humanity is desperate to be ruled. And Max says, yeah, I put in a placeholder word because I didn't remember what he actually said, and then I forgot to go back and figure out what he said. So he said, yeah, well, torture and something are tools of the devil.
I was wondering what that was.
Oops. Anyway, Cassius says, all right, I'll be the devil and I'll show you a hell you can't even imagine. And then Yo-Yo's like, you're not a god or a devil. You're just a cruel, sad little blue man. Let's skip to the part where I end this. I would love that, Yo-Yo. Deke joins Daisy's fight just in time and distracts Scary Spice enough for Daisy to catch her breath. And then Flint joins Mac and Yo-Yo and reports that it's done and asks if he can fight now. So, like, we at least let the kid get a punch in. Like, one hit.
Just one.
Cassius holds up the trigger remote, and so Yo-Yo tries to take it, but is blocked by a force field between the two guards in front of Cassius, because obviously he would have prepared for that. Cassius says he promised suffering, and it's time for that suffering. He's such a theater kid. Oh my god. Deke is surprised that punching people in the jaw hurts. And then, luckily, just as Sonara turns back to Daisy, May is able to turn on the thrusters, and then Sonara floats directly into the broken railing that Daisy's holding out, impaling her. Terrible.
Ouchie.
Ow. Oof. And then, once everyone has taken a breath and they're fine again, Enoch says, a sound plan, indeed. Enoch was killing it today.
Truly.
Cassius presses his own trigger and is shocked when the humans in front of him don't react. Tess runs over to them to join Mac and the gang during the explosion, and then that's when they tell Cassius that they knew he was a long talker kind of villain, so they were fucking stalling. The rest of the humans all worked together, which is something Cassius never would have seen coming. And they got all the bombs on one floor and all the humans above that floor. So now they are completely free and separated from the creepers. Cassius says,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Cassius says, this isn't over. I still have you. And so Max says, duh, the ass kicking has only just begun. And then he hits his trigger, and then he blows up the Inhuman supplies, and then they disappear down the hallway. And Cassius screaming no at that point was literally like the funniest sound I've ever heard. It had me cackling.
And the way they shot it, too, the way the camera was shaking, was so funny.
It was amazing. I loved it so much. Incredibly satisfying. Loved it.
Every second of it.
Oh. And now it's time for the post-content content. Daisy and Coulson are finally able to get Mac to come in over the comms, and Simmons makes Deke break. And Simmons makes Deke break the piece of the monolith, even though it's kind of a family heirloom. Cassius's guards come to tell him that S.H.I.E.L.D. is on the way, but he already knows. He says that they may have a seer telling them what's to come, but I have one of my own. Oh, fuck. Because now they don't have a seer to tell them anymore.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
So the sign on the doors of the Kree doctor's laboratory spells Empire or Death in Kree alphabet.
That doesn't sound terrifying at all.
Dun dun dun.
Whew. What a good
All right,
episode.
so overall thoughts.
Such a satisfying episode. Very funny, lots of good stuff, very action-packed.
Yeah.
And also, just, Cassius could just leave. He could just go. He does not have to do all this. Anyway, do you have any final thoughts?
I liked this episode. It was very fast-paced, and a lot happened.
So much happened.
And I keep thinking, like, every episode I'm like, oh, that's the episode where this happens, right? And then it's not. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's the next episode.
Well, I'm sure that our listeners know what you're talking about. And I will soon. One day. Eventually.
One day.
Maybe 2 weeks from now. Who knows?
Maybe so. Whoa. All right, well, that concludes our episode on Season 5, Episode 9, Best Laid Plans.
Yeah!
Next time, we'll be covering Season 5, Episode 10, Past Life, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye, love you.